And yeah, we're excited to have you guys. In case you don't know, Aaron Brumley has been my friend since third grade. So if you want a lifelong friend, Jesus does help with that stuff because he set us up pretty nice. And I'm still his friend today, which is rough math, a lot of time. That's
A
right,
lot of
Vanessa.
years. A lot of years.
A lot of
We
years.
stopped doing math when we left high school, so
Yeah,
we're not going to try now.
we never use it anyways, right? I mean, algebra, who
Yeah,
uses
there's no
that?
need. I don't know why they taught addition and subtraction. You don't need that stuff.
No. Literally, that's why I have an iPhone. That's the calculator.
Yeah, what are calculators for?
But that is what we're doing tonight is interviewing Aaron, one guy who is, I would consider, one of the best leaders I know for the age he is at. He's already way ahead of the game, in my opinion. And I just want to get some of his thoughts. But before we get into the more serious stuff, I want to go with some more real stuff. What has been your go-to during this quarantine? I'm talking, we'll start first with
Oh,
snacks.
wow.
Go-to snack during the
Oh,
quarantine.
go-to snacks. Wow, you're going to put me on blast like that.
Yeah, I am.
I've been eating my Pop-Tarts, strawberry Pop-Tart. Big old glass of milk. Can't beat it. It's my go-to.
So is it heated or not?
Oh, no, no, no.
Not
No
heated.
heating.
Wow.
No need for that.
So you don't even have to get creative. You just keep it with strawberry and milk, and that'll last you.
Just strawberry milk. They're coming out with all these s'mores, and I'm a hear it from the brown sugar fans out there, but I can't. Nope, I can't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
want it. Just strawberry.
Strawberry all day long, no matter what season we're
That's
in.
it. No other Pop Tart.
That is true. Hey, what about, let's see, what about games? You play any games during it?
Oh man. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. Not
Mm.
gonna lie,
Mm.
and I am absolutely terrible. I'm awful.
It's a good way to
Haven't
pass
gotten a
time.
single win.
Yeah, I gave up on that stuff. I played Kirby last night with my brother on Switch, and it was terrible. We were bad. I'm bad at video games now, is what I realized. But
Oh, I'm terrible.
here's a couple good ones. Let's just do these together. Show and music. So go to show and go to music during the quarantine.
Shoot, I've been watching a lot of Survivor. It's on Amazon Prime. Just one season after another, learning how to survive.
Learn how to survive during the quarantine from none other than the best. They're survivors.
Hey, I might need. You never know. Hey, but I want to know if you're watching.
Oh man, what I'm watching is I guess my parents watch a lot of CSI, so that's what's put on most of the time. So honestly, I haven't watched anything besides CSI. We watched a movie that was extremely long called Three Days Later about how a guy broke his wife out of jail. It was good. It was all right, but I mean, it took up a lot of time. It was a 2 hour and 14-minute movie, so it's a good way to spend a day. I know a couple people have been binging Twilight.
Hey, that's the name of the game. Just taking up time.
That's right. That is right. And then my brother's trying to run with me now, and he just got out of college soccer, and I am way out of it. So that's been interesting to run with him.
Well, you would leave me in the dust. I think I might die if I try to run with you guys.
I know. I think I'm going to start bringing a bike. But what about music? What is your quarantine music like?
Oh man, normally I listen to music in the car, and that's just about the only time I listen to my music.
Yeah.
And so I can't go anywhere, so it's hard to get some time for music. But I've pretty much just had that new Elevation song, Graves to Gardens, on repeat
What a
over and
song.
over and over again
That is a
for this
banger.
whole week so far. And it's not getting old. So you don't want a song that's not going to get old. It's a great one.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I'd have to say, I don't know, recently it's been country. It's contradictory, but But I listened to country this morning with Brooke while we were making some breakfast, and Alexa's been doing us right. She's just been helping us out with all our music choices.
I
But
can't do
Grapes
it.
to
I can't do
Gardens.
country.
I know. But you're still my friend anyways, and that's a real one. But hey,
I
that's
know.
some of our
We've been
quarantine
having this
stuff.
debate for years.
What was that?
I said we've been having this debate for years.
Yeah, that's true. And it probably won't ever stop. Well, hey, let's get into some real things that high school and middle school are both dealing with. So I want to ask you this question. What is one thing you wish you did more in high school? Or, yeah, we'll leave it at that. What's one thing you wish you did more in high school? Why?
Something I wish I did more in high school.
Or even
And
middle school if you want.
parents might not want me to say this, but take the easy classes. That's what I would have done more. I took way too many AP classes, and it was just made my senior year hard. You know, take the hard classes early, get them out of the way, do what you got to do to get into college if that's what you want to do. But then you don't need to stress out about taking the
Mm,
tough classes.
that is unheard of, but always needed advice because you will burn a whole senior year quick on an AP class. But
Oh yes.
that's where it's at. I mean, but hey, I would not disagree. I did the same thing, taking AP Bio. My goodness, that was awful.
Oh yeah, you were right there with me, and we were suffering together.
Terrible. Could have spent my time doing so many other things, like eating strawberries, Pop Tarts, and milk. But so yeah, that's great. That's easy, and that's very true. Number 3, how about this? So our first one was what's your go-to during the quarantine. Second one was what is one thing you wish you did more in high school, which was do less so you don't stress out about everything because, like you said, it wastes your time. You'll get into the college you want to get into. But number 3, in the area of faith, I would say that you are a long-standing citizen when it comes into having the faith belief. Uh, Ever since I've known you, your family's been devout and strong. But I have 2 questions with that because you've done it for so long. Especially in regards to our viewers. I mean, you've done it probably as long as some of them have been alive. So the question I have for you is, yeah, that's a perspective. The question I have for you is,
Old.
did it ever get hard? Like during high school or middle school,
Oh
was it
wow,
hard to keep faith?
definitely. I mean, it got hard a lot. Um, and there were times where it would have been easy to walk away. Would have been easy to give up.
Mm,
Um, but I didn't, and it was worth it. And it
yeah.
was totally worth it to fight for my faith, to fight for the faith of my friends that were around me,
Wow. Yeah.
um, and keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. It was worth it. There are plenty of times where it's going to get hard. And there's going to be those plenty of times where it's really not that hard, but we make it harder than it has to be.
True.
Um, and then you gotta catch yourself. But it was definitely worth fighting for. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and even just to add to that, guys, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I think I've told it before at youth group, but Aaron, just out of faith and belief in me, wrote me a letter. It wasn't like a letter. It wasn't this whole thing. It was just like a 2-page note, just little pages. And it said how much he believed in me, how much he still was praying for me, how much he was covering over me with like God's grace, and believing for the best was the whole reason I came back from Eastern. I mean, that was the spark that said, hey, I need to come back because I realized that I have people fighting for me in my corner. So because of Aaron, you guys have a youth pastor is what I'm getting at. And I know that's God's grace and God's
About
plan.
that.
So I'm not saying that God didn't use Aaron. God did, but because Aaron took a step out in faith, I'm back here in the place that he's called me to be because he just believed in a way that I didn't even believe in myself. So please keep fighting for your friend's faith. I am the friend that was fought for, so I could share that for the rest of the time being and tell you how important that is because it ends up to be people like me, and I'm thankful for people like Aaron to fight. Um, on that note, on the note of it getting hard, what did you do when it got hard? Like, was there practical tips? Is it easier than we all think? What was something you decided to do when it was hard?
I think it's got to start when it's good. When it's good, you got to lay that foundation of Scripture and spending time with the Lord, and that way, when it does get hard, you got your faith and your groundwork and your foundation to fall back on. And other than that,
Mm,
I mean, just surround yourself with people that are going to support you. We all have people in our life that will walk alongside of us in faith. We obviously are going to have those people in our life that aren't going to walk alongside of us. But surround yourself with those people that are going to support you in your faith, that are going to support you in your calling, and just
yeah,
uplift you. And then when you have times that are hard, they can bring you back and they can fight for you. And so definitely surround yourself with people that are going to support you in your faith. It's so important to have fellowship in your life. It's so important to have a mentor.
mm,
Definitely find a faith mentor
yeah,
that can call you out on things, that can say the hard things to you, but also encourage you when you need it. I've had a number of faith mentors in my life, whether it be my dad or whether it be Pastor Drew or Coach Carlton or Dave Etling, Rob Matthews. I mean, plenty of faith mentors in my life
yeah,
that spoke life into me, that I wouldn't be here without for sure.
yeah. And it probably is people are probably nervous, like, hey, how do I find a mentor? I'm not really sure about all that. It's probably just as easy as asking, right? It doesn't get, we probably overcomplicate it, I would think, but I'm sure you could speak into that. You have several that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and obviously some are going to come across naturally. Like a couple of them were basketball coaches and guys like my dad. Like that's a natural
Mm-hmm,
one
mm-hmm.
that came just because of our relationship. But definitely don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
And it just be like, hey, will you mentor me in my faith? And there are people that would just love to hear that. Nobody is going to hear that and be like, no, I can't do it.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Unless they're not in a good place in their faith.
Yeah.
But if you find somebody that's strong in their faith and that is walking with the Lord, they would be honored to mentor you, honored, and they would not hesitate for a second to do it. So don't be afraid to just ask, and it doesn't have to be weird. It's just a relationship and a friendship that goes beyond the surface level.
Wow. Yeah. That's huge because I think kind of what you're saying, and you guys should hear this if you're in here right now. He's saying they almost want to do it more than you do, arguably, unless they're in a weird position with their faith. So that's kind of encouraging. That makes me feel good about asking, like, hey, they want to do it just as bad. It's not like they're nervous for me asking. I think a lot of times about parents, how if we had a storm or if something happened when we were little, we would find somewhere to go to. Maybe it wasn't a parent. Maybe you had a stuffed animal or a blanket. Everybody had a blankie, I feel like. But
Oh
you
yeah,
went to that thing for security. And I think, like Aaron, you almost grow out of the blankie stage where you have real problems and real life and real high school and real mess. And you need a new blankie. You need a new mentor. You need somebody that's going to cover you in prayer and you can call on a bad day, you know? So please, if you hear something, I think Aaron had some gold right there where it's just find your mentor because it does make a difference. And again, it bled into relationships like mine where I was able to benefit from Aaron's faith because someone poured into him. He was freely given,
yeah, for
so he
sure. And if
freely
I can add
gave.
one more thing, um, you guys have already in place all awesome faith mentors that you can go to.
Mm.
That I know that the Lift leaders, the Lift youth leaders, would love to do this for you, and they would
Yes.
do it well, and they would love to just be there for you. So you guys already have the most obvious people that you know would say yes, and you know would be awesome at it. So go to those youth leaders; they would be awesome.
Come on, I gotta give that an air horn. That's yeah. Let me turn that up. Actually, that probably blasted in somebody's ear. But yes, our leaders are huge, and they love you guys so much. They care a ton. So please talk to them, especially during this time. They can Zoom lunch you now. It's never been easier. Um, hey, to end this thing out because I think you've just given some gold already. We could end it and already have enough for people. But I do want to ask you, I think you are a great leader. I mean, I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. He also is the trailblazer of Young Life College in the Salisbury area. So if there's anything to do with Young Life in the college level, and that is an outreach, if you don't know about it, it is seeking lost people and loving them well to Jesus. And he's been trailblazing that, and it's been difficult, it's been hard, but he has led the way and certainly done an amazing job. I'm not part of it, but I've gotten to see aspects of it. And I mean, he's even raising leaders up, and I think that's a strength that Aaron has, is not only to lead, but to raise up leaders. So with that being said, what is one piece of leadership advice you would give to anybody that will watch this video? Laid on the spot.
We're actually just talking about this as a leadership today in Young Life, but just humility, humility, humility. And not just false humility where you know you're good at something and you're like, nah, I'm terrible at that. Not that kind of thing, but true humility of wanting to serve other people. Being a servant leader will speak volumes more than if you're up top screaming at people or yelling at the top of your lungs. I mean, Jesus sets out the model for it. Instead, he came and was the lowest of the low. He was born in a manger. He was equal to God, but kind of gave up his equalness with him to be with us. And it said, because Jesus, he came and he died a criminal's death, that it says that's when God lifted his name above all other names. So humility, servant leadership will speak volumes. I mean, definitely if you have a voice, be a vocal leader. But you don't have to be a tyrant to be a vocal leader. You can be a vocal leader while being humble and while serving the people that you're leading well. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we talk about that all the time as a leadership. Just care for people well, serve them well, and be humble in your leadership.
Gosh, that's huge, and I hope you guys get that, because I believe you all have some ability to lead, right? If you have Jesus in you, you have leadership capabilities. And like Aaron said, some are vocal, some are behind the scenes, but nonetheless, I think that's wisdom that every one of us could take in this video, just something like that. But Aaron, I thank you so much for just pouring into us for that short time. I wish we could go for hours and hours, but I know people have Netflix to binge and food to eat and strawberry Pop-Tarts to get to. But, hey, thank you all for joining us. I want to say thanks again to Aaron. He is an amazing person in my life and is a lifelong friend, and I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. All right, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, of course. Hey, this is the Lift Youth Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys next Monday. All right, y'all. Peace out.